morning. It's Tuesday on the last full week of the amazing Readathon. You barely saw me yesterday because the world just barely saw me yesterday. I took a break from being a human and was just like a goblin in bed, eating pizza and watching Bluey all day. We have left Cairo for Beijing. As you can imagine, the price of the plane is astronomical because you're basically flying for something like 9 hours. And the prompt is to read a book that has script on the cover. And this was a little bit challenging for me because I did take a look at the entire bookshelf and I thought, I have loads of books that have like cursive writing on them. I have loads of books that have like joined up handwriting. None of them. Basically none. So many books that I have a serif font. And it was a little bit harder for me to find something, but I eventually did. So I've decided to go for Love at First Sight. Now, it's not going to get me any bonuses. It's not going to get me any translation or BIPOC author or color on the cover. But it is about 320 pages. And that's fairly okay, because I need something light, quick, gentle to bring me back. I've had a little bit of a slump lately. I haven't enjoyed reading as much as I usually do. And I feel like that's because I have overworked myself. I'm like a dough that you have just kept kneading with your hands and you're expecting it to keep stretching. I am being stretched, and I'm really hoping that this book is just going to bring me back to life a little bit. This is one that Brie herself has read, and she described it as chaotic bisexuals, and that was really enough for me. We have spoken about this on other sprints, just random Sunday night sprints that she was having. We have spoken about this, and she said, did she think I would really enjoy it? So I picked it up a couple of months ago, I think around my birthday, and I put it on my autumn TBR for this year. For us, autumn is August, September, October for Irish people. So this is the right time. It's an autumnal cover. It's got like very autumnal colours on it. And I feel like now is the right time to give it a try. If nothing else will make me love reading, the chaotic bisexuals are gonna do it. Remember me? Apparently I'm supposed to be vlogging for this. I have completely not vlogged Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Today is Friday. So, what is the update that we have to give you? I got to Beijing. I read a book called Adulting by Liz Talley, and it was fine. It was a book, it existed, and I read it. There's one scene that stands out to me. The rest of it is very much a haze and blur. So, I have another sightseeing book for Beijing that I'm probably just going to carry over until September, if it doesn't fit for any of the other prompts. But we do have a new city to get to, and that is Tokyo. Also, if you can hear the fan in the background, I apologize, but it's incredibly humid this morning and I just need to have some fresh air. For Tokyo, we need to read a book that has a direction or a destination in the title. So you can do like up, down, left, right, north, south, east, west, in, out. Prepositions also count. Or you can do a destination like New York, like Paris, like Hollywood. You can do like a common noun if it is important as part of the setting. So Brie said in her announcement video, something like the Midnight Library will count because the Midnight Library is an intrinsic part of the book. So I have a couple of ideas. Strangely, they're all focused around New York. I've got Brooklyn by Colm Tóibín, which is set in New York and Wexford. I have got I Heart New York by Lindsay Kelk, which I have not listened to or read in maybe about 2 or 3 years, and it's kind of due a reread anyway. Or I've also got In a New York Minute by Kate Spencer, which I think somebody read and didn't really love, but I don't remember who. So I've got a couple of ideas, and I'm going to take another little look at my shelf last night, because when the prompt came out, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning for me, and it was starting to come into shutdown mode. So I hadn't really looked through my Kindle, I hadn't really looked through my shelves, I hadn't really looked through my library or Scribd app, even though Scribd is not going to be a whole lot of help because I've got 10 books left on my shelf that are available now. The rest have scattered to the winds. So let's see what we can do with this. I don't know how it's going to go in terms of how much time we have, how much time I'm going to have to read. I have got some sprints later on tonight, and I also have some sprints tomorrow morning as part of Neva's 24-hour reading sprints. But I also have a busy rest of the weekend. So let's just see how we get on. Vlogging has been various degrees of success across this month, but never so unsuccessful as this week. I cannot put it into words how much I have forgotten that I was supposed to be vlogging this whole week.
but I'm going to roll over it into next week as well. We are sometime going to get the last prompt of the month, which feels a little bit surreal. It feels almost like we shouldn't be at this stage. It feels like we just started with the amazing readathon like 2 hours ago. How and ever. I have arrived in Tokyo. I reread I Heart New York by Lindsay Kelk, which did drop a star in the rating for me, just because there were a couple of things that Angela had said to a couple of people and about herself. I didn't love the language that was used. I think we have grown as a people, and I don't think that we need to use the language that was used in there. But we're now sightseeing, and I am 240 pages into The Mysterious Case of the Albertine Angels by Janice Hallett. I obsessed over and loved The Appeal by the same author to the extent that I sat on my chair for about 6 hours straight, only got up to pee and answered the door when I ordered takeaway. This has not had the same energy. I started this on like Friday evening while I was sprinting with Brittany. It is now Sunday night, and I am only about 250 pages in. If this had been The Appeal, I would have blasted through it within like 6 hours. And I think it's just not holding me as much as The Appeal did. I don't know what the reasoning is. It's just not having the same effect for me. I'm going to come a little closer, you can actually see my face. I have got about 150 pages to go, and I should finish that before I go to sleep. If not, I will finish it in the morning. I feel ready for another city though. I feel ready for something new. And I wasn't on sprints for very long earlier on. My brother messaged me and asked me if I would like to catch up on some Taskmaster New Zealand that we have missed over the course of the week. We've been busy doing separate things, but we usually watch it together. And I had a feeling that some kind of chaos was going to drop on the sprints. I don't know if there has been any mention of chaos even, but nothing dropped. There was nothing that was like made or shared. I feel like I'm ready to move on. I feel like I'm ready to pack my bags, and I feel like I'm ready for a new start. Maybe when I wake up tomorrow, there'll already be something here. I don't know if I want that to happen immediately though, because I am still about 150 pages left to the end of this, and it isn't gripping me as much as The Appeal did, okay, but I will still give it a go. I will still read it. I'll still get to the end of it. I just don't know if I will enjoy the journey as much as I did the previous round. Let's just see. Let's just give it a go, and we will try. Speaking of giving it a go, we will try and be a little bit more present when it comes to the final week of this readathon. We will try and be a little bit more actually on camera. Let's see how that works out. Good morning, hi. I say good morning. It's 3:15 in the afternoon. Good afternoon, hi. We did it last night. Last night, I finished up the Albertine Angels just before I went to sleep. Logged it. Expected to wake up this morning to a little bit of chaos. Did not. So while I was sitting at my desk, I thought, okay, I have some time, apparently. I'm going to crack on. And I did. I picked up a copy of, I think it's Westside Story, Westside something or other. It is a retelling of Westside Story by Priscilla Oliveras, who did the Island Affair, like Key West books. I'm really intrigued by this. I really like Westside Story as a musical. I've been to see it a couple of times. Haven't seen any of the movies, but I really like the musical, the story. It's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet modernization retelling, The Sharks and the Jets. And I was really interested to see how this was going to go into the pages of a book, but it has fit so well so far. I'm only like 5 or 6 chapters in. I'm only about 40% in, but I am enjoying it quite a lot. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it by the time that Brie drops a chaos, but I need to run to the library because I have just filmed an unhaul, so I'm going to get rid of some of my books. I want to go to the shops because I would like to just look around the shops for the evening. And I'm going to bring the book with me. I'm going to bring the audiobook with me and just have a time while I am walking down the streets. And let's see how far we go before Brie decides to drop a chaos. But we also have to talk about the mysterious case of the Albertine Angels. I said this last night, I'm pretty sure, but it just didn't hit for me the same as The Appeal did. Once we got to the ending, it did pick up a little bit for me. I did go a little bit, oh, that's interesting. But that was the reaction to the ending this time. Whereas with The Appeal, I was completely blown away by the entire book. So I feel like it is a little bit of a different situation for me. I feel like it is a little bit of a different energy. I have also got a copy of the Twyford Code, which is Janice Hallett's second book. And I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to go into it or not. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll go to it, maybe I don't.
But I just think that maybe she started too high for me, and then my expectations are just lowered and lowered and lowered every time. Unfortunately, that might be the trend that we are on at the moment, but let's see what happens. Scrap that, scratch that, scrap all of it. We are on the road again. We're going on our final little destination. And it feels so surreal to be here. It feels very surreal to be on our final destination, but we are. We're off to Sydney, with which we need to read a genre blend. And she has told us that historical romance, contemporary romance, that does not count. Because contemporary romance and historical romance is a setting and not a genre. Which is bad news for little Aoife. Because little Aoife does not read a whole lot of other genres. So I'm going to really, really chance my leg here. I'm going to really push the boat out, and I'm going to give myself one last challenge in this readathon. I've had a couple of challenges come to me. I've had a couple of books that I didn't love. I've had a couple of prompts that I didn't necessarily read the stuff, usually, that I would have sit in for. But my final challenge to myself is a fantasy romance. I'm not a big fantasy girly. This is something that is quite clear if you've been here for any length of time. Fantasy and Aoife have not generally gotten on very well. However, I've heard really great things about Cemetery Boys. I have heard phenomenal things about it. And I've actually just said it into the yellow chat. Oh, I think I might read this. I'm kind of looking at it. I've had an idea. And Brie herself said, I actually think you might like this one. Brie and I know each other's reading tastes quite well. We've been friends for a couple of years now, so we know each other's tastes quite well. So, if she thinks I can do it, maybe I have to do it. Let's see. Let's give it a try. Let's see. I don't know where I'm going to go for sightseeing, though. I'm not entirely sure what I've got. I'm really going to have to think about this one. Let's see. Let's give it a try. Good morning. It is Tuesday. It is also haircut day, and I cannot tell you how excited I am about that piece of information. I, once again, told you I was going to read one book, and then ended up reading something completely different. I actually picked up Fourth Wing. I felt like if I was really going to give myself a challenge for the last one, why not go all out? I know that Michelle has read Fourth Wing and she really enjoyed it, and she's not a fantasy girly at all. She's not a dragons girly. She's not that kind of a reader. But seeing her video where she read it, all of that just kind of gave me pause to think, hey, if somebody who has like a relatively similar rom-com reading style to me will enjoy a fantasy book like this, maybe the same is also true for Aoife. Now, I'm about 25 chapters in. I'm listening to the audiobook. It is horrifically long compared to every other book that I've ever read. I think the audiobook is like 19 hours long. So I will get it finished, hopefully. Between all of my meetings today, I would hopefully get it finished at some stage over the day. And then I can tell you whether or not I'm a fantasy girly. I am enjoying it so far, which is surprising to literally everybody, because I'm not fantasy in any way, but it is quite Hunger Games coded, and that is something that I'm enjoying. I loved Hunger Games when I was younger. I loved the films, I loved the books. I'm not going to read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because I do not give a shit about a villain origin story, but I really enjoyed the core Hunger Games trilogy. And it has that kind of feeling to it. So I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. There's also a really nice romance in there. It's quite steamy. It's a little bit slow burn. I'm enjoying it. I'm on board with it. But I have got my sights set for a sightseeing book, because I know in my heart I'm going to finish Fourth Wing before I would finish this. And this is Finley Donovan is Killing It by El Cosimano. This is let's see. It is a mystery thriller, but there is a romance kind of weaved in there as well. So it is a 65-35 split. I would say it's much more of a mystery thriller than it is a romance, but there is still a good romance subplot chunk in this book. Brie and I actually buddy read this together last July, and I really enjoyed it. But I want to go on to the second one in the series too. Maybe if I finish this one tonight, I can start onto Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun, I think is the second one. Hopefully, I'll be able to get the two of these done. I'll get a couple more points clocked up for the yellow team, and we can finish on some kind of a high. Wearing the same t-shirt as when you last saw me, but I promise you I did wash it. And also I have much less hair than when you last saw me. It is the 1st of September, which means that I did not succeed in my let's keep vlogging this week little goal for myself. But it also does mean that the Amazing Readathon is over. It's done. It's finished. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself now. I don't know where I'm supposed to look for what to read. I know I've got Pick Pong. I know I've got an entire Pick Pongathon TBR that is over there and is just waiting for me to pick something up. And I know what my first Pick Pongathon read is going to be. And you're going to see a video of that coming very, very soon. But I feel directionless. I feel like I am stranded on the moon with no way of getting home. Brie has been picking my reads for me for an entire month. And sitting and doing it for myself now feels alien to me. But it also does mean that I have finished a couple of books that I need to tell you about. One of which was Fourth Wing, which I enjoyed a lot more than I think I was expecting to, mainly because it was a fantasy book, and fantasy and I have never really gelled well together. However, this had a bit of a romance kind of plot line going through it. It wasn't all fantasy, it wasn't all romance. There were little bits and pieces of both, and I genuinely really enjoyed that part. I also really enjoyed the 2 steamy chapters. They were quite well done. They weren't gratuitous. And there was only 2 of them, so it didn't feel very, like, steam heavy. It was really well done. The ending has completely shattered my mind. I will definitely take a look for the second book. And I think if I was to reread Fourth Wing in the future ever, it would be with my eyeballs rather than with my ears. Because I would really just love to sit and experience that in that format. I'd love to sit and soak it in that way. I also listened to and read Finley Donovan is Killing It again. That was my sightseeing book. And I enjoyed this so much more the second time than I did the first time. I read this with Brie back in July of last year and I loved it and we had a great time. And I think it cemented a friendship with the 2 of us. But I found that I was taking in so much more this time and I was noticing things this time that I didn't notice the last time. And I just had a really good time with it. I had an enjoyable time. And that's kind of the vibe for the entirety of August. I had a great time over August. I've read 38 books across the month, which is insanity. I've never read that many books in a month, ever. Even taking out the 11 that I read over Face Off weekend, that's still 27 books, I think, over the course of a month. That's never been done before and will likely never be done again. I feel like today, though, I need a break. I need to sit down and not read for just a little while. So I'm going to take a little break from reading today. I'm not going to start my Pick Pongathon TBR until tomorrow. I've got a couple of sprints with a couple of friends. Today, I'm going to go for dinner and I'm going to go and see the Barbie movie. And that is going to be my switching my brain from reading intensely to reading at a little bit of a gentler pace over the month of September. I still do have 10 books that I need to read. I still do have 10 prompts that I need to pick off. But it's just not going to be as hectic and as much as it was in August. And I am, admittedly, a little bit excited for it. But I hope that you will join me on my Pick Pongathon journey. I will also have vlogs for that. I'll also have vlogs for Rom-Comathon. I've got 2 other very centric to one book vlogs that I have got in my mind for September as well. So if you've enjoyed the kind of chaos and the energy that my vlogs have brought to you over August, I'd love to see you in the comments there. And if you'd love to leave me a comment on this video, but you can't think of anything you'd like to say, I would love to leave you a yellow heart emoji just to celebrate the yellow team. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.